our work is around three elements. First is the campaign to fight for workers' rights. The second thing that we do is research and policy. And we do work with the Brennan Center and ANETA and also UJC, so, and the Urban Justice Center. We have produced some of our research work is, for example, Behind the Kitchen Door, where we really fight to study the industry. It is one of the books that we have produced. We have produced also Dining Out, Dining Healthy. We also produced another book that I will show you later on. So basically, what are the challenges that face restaurant workers in New York City today? But they are multi-form. It is a lot of challenges. The reality is that 40% of the industry workforce, the restaurant industry workforce, is undocumented. This tells a big story. And it is already a big challenge to have to work with undocumented workers. The reason is that because those workers are afraid, it becomes very difficult to organize them. But this is the task that we have decided to take on, and we will keep doing that. Another challenge that we have is the decision by the Department of Homeland Security to have the Social Security no-match letter sent out to employers. For us, it is a big challenge. It is a weapon in the hands of owners, business owners, who will use it against the organizing. And we think it is a big problem. It is suspended. We don't know if this suspension will keep, will stay there or it will be lifted. So this is one of the big problems that we have. Again, our studies have shown that only 1% of New York City restaurants are organized. We have 99% of the restaurant workers unorganized. So another reality is that in 1980, the restaurant industry was comprised of 54% of white non-Hispanic. Today, the trend is at 27%. So we have more and more immigrants moving in the industry. And that's one of the reasons why it is unregulated, because of the workforce, the ethnicity of the workforce, the immigration status. This is a big challenge. How do we organize a workforce that is getting more and more immigrants? So these are things that Rock New York will be taking on. Now, we have also legal challenges. Rock New York has been challenged and sued as a union, even though they know we are not a union. Now, any time that you go after a business owner because he's violating workers' rights, he will sue you. And they have big corporations working for them. And that's a big challenge that we have. We have limited resources, and we have to use those resources to defend ourselves instead of being on the offensive against those people who are violating workers' rights. Now, another thing that we would like to get, that is another challenge for us, is how do we work with the Department of Labor? I give you an example. In 2003, we were in a campaign because workers were paid $10 an hour, and for 40 hours they paid $400, which was fine. Now, when they work 60 hours, the employer gave them $50 more. It was a clear violation. So what they did was to go to the Department of Labor. And the great idea of the Department of Labor was to tell to the employer that minimum wage was then $5.50. They are not obligated to pay more than the minimum wage. So workers going to the Department of Labor, what happened at the end is their salary got reduced. So instead of being paid $10 an hour, the Department of Labor said, tell them, basically, you can still pay them $450 and get the most out of them. Pay them $50, $5.50 an hour, and the remainder, pay them the overtime with it. It is all legal. So we want to organize, but we don't want to go against the Department of Labor, which will make our fight more complicated. How do we work with the Department of Labor? So now I would like to talk a little bit about the future of the industry. As it stands now, it is not a worker-friendly environment. The industry is getting more and more difficult to work with. One example. Now, the National Restaurant Association is one of the 10 biggest lobbyists in the nation. Why is that? Because they don't want restaurant workers to be organized. And they are working at the national level with policymakers to make sure that minimum wage increase gets stopped on the track. Workers' rights get stopped on the track. And these are very big challenges. And this is a trend. And that's one of the reasons why the Department of Homeland Security has enacted the Social Security No Match letter. These are all difficult problems for us, but it is a trend. But we don't think that, at Rock New York, we don't think that it is all dark and gloomy. We came with innovative ideas for workers. The first thing was to create a restaurant industry roundtable. What does it mean? We invite restaurant owners who respect the workers' rights. And we try to have out of them a code of conduct. What we want to do with that in the long run is to have a Zagat type of code of conduct that restaurant owners who respect the workers' right will post by their door. Because we know a lot of progressive people who would like to eat in the restaurant where they know that when they give a tip, it goes to the worker. And right now, they have no chance of knowing who is doing the right thing. And that's the reason why they go to those restaurants. And they want to change that. It isn't a word. The second thing is that we introduced a bill called the Responsible Restaurant Act. We try to address at the policy level because we think that laws are really bad for restaurant workers. The bill has been introduced on May 19, and we're still working on it. We have 23 council members with us. The third thing is we need more research. We think that it is very important for restaurant owners to respect the workers' right. But put it in this term, how do we prove to them that respecting workers' right will translate in more profitability? Do we know for sure that high-road restaurants make more profit than low-road restaurants? How do we conduct those studies? And we think that these are things that we need to do to prove them that it is right to pay correctly your workers. And it is important, and it helps you. We are also conducting a discrimination campaign. We send that we call a match pair testing. We send 2 people to restaurant, 2 different races or two different genders. And we have the result of that discrimination that we will be publishing. Now, I have a lot more to say, but I will have to stop now. Simply, the last thing is we also realize that many owners really don't know the law. And how do you educate them? We have then worked with the New York City Immigrant Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs. And we published that book that shows to the owners, the restaurant owners manual, that shows to any owner, anybody who applies for a business certificate will have that. It tells them what are the rights, the basic rights of workers that need to be respected. Because we think this is important. There are small owners who don't know because their rights have been violated, and they open their own restaurant, they think it is okay. It is not. And they needed to know. And I thank you for having me.